All right, now let's work on the color one. Let's lock this grayscale layer. We're done with that. Unlock the sunflower color and make it visible. And this is the next one we want to start with. So let's take our scrubber bar, move it out to about 8.5 seconds. Insert a keyframe. Drag our scrubber bar back like we did before. Take that opacity down, and we've got that transition. So let's preview that one now. So far, so good. All right, now let's make some movement and create some space for the logo. Let's do that by taking the scrubber bar, bringing it out here to about 11.5. And let's insert a keyframe right there. And then let's drag our keyframe back to the place where we want this to start. And now let's resize the picture. I'm going to just get a little bit farther view here so I can get the toggles. Hold down the Shift key to constrain the proportions and work with this a little bit. Put this into place there on the borders. Let's make it a little smaller yet. So about like that. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Now it starts changing to color now, and then should start to move. There we go. Let's bring in our logo now. I'll change this view back to 100%. And let's make the Tusky logo, that layer unlocked. Move this around a little bit. And the only thing I don't like about it is that it's kind of fading into that complex background. So let's put a little bit of an ellipse behind it that will give it a little bit of light and highlight that logo a little bit better. So I'm going to take the ellipse tool and let's go ahead and have white selected. That's fine. No stroke, and let's draw a little bit of an ellipse right behind Tusky there. See how that looks. I get that centered, bring it down a little bit. Let's see, let's send that backward one level so that it's behind Tusky. And that looks pretty good, except I'd like that to be a little bit whiter. And so let's change those values to 255 each, because 255 on R, G, and B will give us white, if you remember your additive color theory. Okay, that gives us white. And maybe let's take that opacity back a little bit so that we can see a hint of the sunflowers behind it. And yet we can still see Tusky's eye there. That looks pretty good. As before, let's get the Tusky logo and the white ellipse to fade in. Take the scrubber bar out here to about 13.5. Click in a keyframe. Bring the scrubber back to the point where we want the animation to start. Dial back on the opacity. Now we can lock the Tusky logo layer and do the same thing to the with the ellipse layer. Put that in, set in our keyframe, drag this back, put the opacity down, and that one's done as well. Let's take a quick preview of this and see if everything is working right so far. Okay, very good. That looks just about how I want it to. Now we're ready for type. Let's start our headline. Let's go back to the black and white part of it. Maybe to about in here, about the 4-second mark. Okay, let's make our headline. Let's create some text. Creative strategy. And then let's highlight this. Make it a little smaller. Let's try 18. Move it up a little bit in there. That looks pretty good. Okay, its opacity is at 100 right now. So let's do the same things. Put in a keyframe. Drag this back about 1 second. Take the opacity to nothing. And that's ready to fade in. Now we'll finish the headline with the words "and executions," and we'll have that text be revealed as the visual idea becomes clear. So let's move the scrubber nearer to the end of the timeline. So let's go out here, maybe around 10 or 11. Right here, we're starting to get small, would be good. Right about there. Okay, so now we put in a keyframe and another text. We'll let this be bigger. And if we can set this in maybe italic. Move that into position. Okay, and then take it back about 1 second. And again, put the opacity to 0. And that bit's ready as well. Okay, let's preview this one more time. Back to the beginning. Play. Okay, all the animations seem to be working. All right, let's do one more test and preview this little masterpiece in a browser. To preview it, that's under the File menu. Not sure why it's not under the View menu, but it's under the File menu. File, Preview in Browser. And so far it's so good. Fingers crossed. Everything looks like it's working just the way we set it up. And executions, and it's done. Finally, let's save it. Save the file, and then to publish for web, go to Publish Settings and follow your way through the dialog box. And that is an introduction to creating animated banner ads with Adobe Edge Animate CC. Thanks for watching.